Welcome to the Practice Podcast, a show created by lawyers to help lawyers in life and business without all the complicated lawyer language. Let's welcome Bast Amron founders and your hosts, Jeff Bast and Brett Amron.
All right, I think we're on.
We are on the air. Brett Amron, how are you? I'm Jeff Bast. I'm introducing myself. I'm just coming out of the box.
And introducing me too. How are you?
Yeah, I'm fantastic.
Wow, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're recording this at the end of February. It's a beautiful spring.
Already the end of February. Yeah.
I know. March is in a couple days. It's hard to believe.
That's right. Q1 coming to a rapid close.
It's weather's been fantastic here. You and I are both coming off of ski trips.
That's right.
Tell me why do you like skiing so much?
Well, I like to move. I like to be active. I love the challenge of it. Sometimes if I get to ski alone, I like that. Yeah, I do. I actually like to ski alone. Just sometimes. Sometimes I'll just go off and ski the mountain.
For a couple runs.
Yeah. I had an opportunity this trip because of just the way things happened to do it for a day and a half. Ski by myself, which was kind of fun. It's a good challenge. I like the speed sometimes, and how about you? You snowboard, not ski. So tell me what you like to do.
I'm a snowboarder because I was not a great skier. I only started in college, and most of my skiing friends had been skiing their whole lives. So rather than try to catch up, I just tried to adapt and went to the snowboarding route. Same. I love it. I love you can be active. You're in nature.
Yep.
You get to go fast. I love going through the trees, and you're with either your friends or your family. Among the trees, right? Exactly. You don't want to go through them.
That's right.
And then you're done by 4:00, and so then it's good quality time with people you love, presumably either friends or family,
right.
And you're just kind of hanging out. I love everything about it. And then, like you, I prefer to ride with people, but on there's some rides alone, especially if you use music. Some people do, some people don't. I do. I had one run at the end of one of the days last week where, I don't know if you know the theme song from Peaky Blinders. It's just sometimes a song comes on and it's like you're in the start of a run and it's like the perfect moment and the snow is falling. And I just was like, oh, this is it. This is what it's all about. You have the perfect song on your head and you're riding down. It just, that feeling of movement is awesome. I love it.
I agree. And it is always a family favorite trip in our house, because of what you said.
Just the quality family time.
Yeah, it's great.
Something for everyone. So, Anyway, I wonder if our guest likes skiing. Maybe we'll find out. We'll find out. Our guest today is Jennifer Johnson. Jennifer is the CEO and founder of Calibrate Strategies, which delivers industry-leading strategies and executive search services. After spending 6 years in attorney recruiting and marketing at an AmLaw 100 firm, Jennifer transitioned into executive search. And in 2011, she founded J. Johnson Executive Search, focusing on placing revenue enablers, which has a little TM, trademarked term, revenue enablers. We're going to come back to that. Which are impact players who drive firms forward and skillfully manage business operations. And then following her expansion into consulting and advisory services, the firm rebranded to Calibrate Strategies in 2017. And today, Calibrate provides clients with both the talent and the strategic guidance they need to achieve their most critical business objectives.
Well said.
Thank you.
You read it. You didn't.
Well read.
Yeah, well read.
Welcome, Jennifer. We're happy to have you.
Hello. It is so good to be here with you. And Jennifer Johnson does not like to ski.
No. Is there, does she?
It's not a thing. I will take you to the mountain and I'll pick you up from the mountain, but I don't have the need for speed. It's not my thing.
Have you skied and you decided you don't like it, or did you get hurt?
I was halfway up the lift in Park City and my feet fell asleep and I was mad and I decided, why on earth am I spending money to do something that makes my feet fall asleep and makes me cranky? So that was the end of it.
That's
fair. Skiing, I think, requires you to not mind having a little bit of discomfort.
Right.
You know, there were a lot of discomfort, candidly. I mean, there are days when if you're skiing or the boots, you're freezing, it's cold, the boots are maybe feeling a little bit. And so I completely understand that. And my wife does not like speed. She doesn't mind skiing. She'll do a little bit here and there. But yeah, I get it. I get it. So I understand. I appreciate it.
I don't like the skiing on the snow or on the water. It's not my thing. I don't like being drugged behind things. I don't like myself towards things.
Okay.
So, no, thank you.
Okay, well, that's fair.
Excellent. So we were speaking, you're in Austin, right?
I am, yeah.
And tell us your journey. How did you make your way to working in, AmLaw, at an AmLaw law firm, AmLaw 100 law firm, in recruitment, I think is where you started. Is that right? Tell us how you got there.
Well, it was the vision and goal of my parents for me to go to law school so that as a woman I could, hang my shingle and take care of myself if I needed to. And I worked on a political campaign and decided to get a job in a law firm, working while I was taking the LSAT and applying to law schools. So I got a job in a firm, and I really realized that I enjoyed being around the people, and I enjoyed the business side of the law firms. But it was back in the mid-90s when it was books basically only, and I'd walk by a lawyer's office and you kind of see them lift up and peek over the top of the books and then go back to where they came from. And I just decided that wasn't right for me, but I loved the environment. And so I stayed on with that same firm for 6 years in a variety of capacities, and did recruiting, did marketing. Well, turns out recruiting is marketing. Marketing is required to do with recruiting, and one and the same, and really enjoyed that. I did attorney billing. I did some HR as well. So I got a very solid view on what that looks like to be on the business side of a firm, which has given me what I believe to be a unique advantage against my competitors. And I happened into New York City I was in Texas, and I moved to New York City and started a new division of an existing search firm. And it turns out I was pretty good at it. And after honoring my non-compete with that firm, I started my own search firm, and we are now, next month, it'll be 14 years.
Amazing. Congratulations.
15 people across both our search teams and our consulting group. I want to just say we don't place lawyers. So we're not in the lawyer recruiting business. We are squarely focused on the business professionals inside of professional services firms, law firms, accounting firms, and the like. So I always just like to say not lawyers, because everyone goes straight to that, and that is not what we do.
Right.
Now, we might place a lawyer that has transitioned into business and has some business experience, but isn't coming straight out of practice.
Or interested in going back into practice. It seems like your focus is on non-lawyer related.
Don't say non-lawyer.
Sorry, I know you hate that.
How about we call them revenue enablers?
Revenue enablers. Wait, do we have to say trademark?
Do that.
Do we have to say trademark? Yeah. Revenue enablers. So who are working alongside the lawyers but not practicing law.
Correct. That is it. You all are the revenue generators. Mm-hmm. And if you have the right business professionals in the right seats doing the right things, they will enable that more revenue to come in the door. They will make it as easy as possible for you to bring dollars in the door and do great work for your clients. That's what it's all about.
Now, so these are people that you obviously worked with. You were a revenue enabler and working among them. But when you first started with recruiting, I assume it was attorney recruitment, right?
Well, when I was inside the law firm,
when you were inside,
attorney recruitment for sure. I did the law student program, and I did some lateral hiring as well as professional development, all focused on the lawyers. But when I went onto the search side, I started in the marketing space. So hiring marketing professionals for law firms. Because I had done marketing inside of a law firm, I understood that space and some recruiting experience. So I married the two and started a division of a company focusing on that. Over the 6 years of that, I placed about 250 marketing professionals across law firms in the United States and across a few firms in London as well. So back in 2004, that was really when law firms were catching on to, I wonder if we should have some subject matter experts who understand banks and the way that they talk and the words that they use, so that when we're pitching to them, it's in their voice versus maybe lawyer language or whatever. So really starting to professionalize the business side of the house. It really began in the marketing space back in the early 2000s.
So you mentioned something before about how marketing or recruiting is really marketing or is part of marketing, and they go together. I'll admit, like when I first started my own firm, like I had no idea, or I was a practicing lawyer. Before I opened my own firm, I had no idea. Obviously, since we've learned that they go together, but why is it so important to sort of recognize that and then marry the two for purposes of recruiting and marketing?
Right. What you want to have is an experience that's authentic, whether you're inside the firm or outside the firm. So what you see a lot of times is firms putting a wrapper around the brand of a website and saying that they are living these values or whatever, and they have the keywords, but then the lived experience on the inside is different. And so what you want is to have that completely, as much as you can, unified. And so it's really, really important that what you're selling is what somebody actually experiences when they show up. And what's interesting, I think, are the layers of different experiences people will have. So a partner has a different experience than an associate. A person a receptionist has a different experience than maybe somebody that works in your billing department. Somebody who's an alumni of the firm, who's left the firm for some reason, has their own experience. And so it's just really trying to sync that up for the broader lawyer brand that you want, so you can attract people. And also in the legal space, it's kind of a small world. People know each other. And so if you have a reputation for being one way on the inside versus what you're showing on the outside, people will know that. They talk, and it hurts your ability to be able to attract talent.
I love that. And I like the way you phrased it, an experience that is authentic, because I think, like you said, most firms are really good. If you read the website, they all say we have an open door policy and we have no jerk rule and we have firm culture and it's family. Everyone uses the same words.
Oh, the breadth and the depth.
The breadth and the depths, right. But the question is that the experience that the employees are having, and is that the experience that the clients are encountering as well? And
exactly. And people can sniff it out if it isn't authentic, and that will ultimately affect your clients, particularly as we're looking at this next generation of buyers of legal services.
Right.
Do care more about the experience that the people that work with you have, and what the reputation of how you treat your people, et cetera, both the lawyers and the revenue enablers, the business people. It's interesting, 92%, according to the ABA, of lawyers went undergrad not in marketing or business. They are poli-sci majors, English majors. They went right around the business school versus into the business school. And then you go to law school. And until very recently, there wasn't a how to run a business or marketing classes in law school curriculum. And so most partners who have their names on the door of law firms today come by it naturally, that they don't actually know what that looks like. They don't, know how to have how to build a talent strategy and manage a talent strategy and marry that with their marketing strategy and make sure that all of that is humming along nicely. It isn't something that most of them are trained to do, which is where you insert your business professionals to do it, not for you because it's your firm, but with you.
Right.
So I'm sure you've seen it over your 14 years. I mean, I know we've seen it. It was always, big law was always going to hire, they had the ability to hire management and revenue enablers that worked alongside the lawyers. And they always had that, or had the ability to do that. And they had the funds and the resources. I know I'm sure you've seen a huge increase in uptick in the hiring of revenue enablers by smaller firms, mid-sized firms.
Yes.
Is there something that you've seen that you can attribute that increase to, and just why? Why are people now more, besides you and doing a phenomenal job in your business, but why are lawyers suddenly deciding, we need to do this?
The phone calls are coming. I don't want to do this anymore.
Yeah.
I love practicing law. That's what I signed up for. I did my tour. Now nobody else wants to come behind me to do it because they see how hard it is, how I am trying to juggle, sadly, a full practice along with the running of my business over here on the side of my desk. I don't know what I don't know. I'm not being as effective as I'd like to be. I want to do what I want to do, and I don't want to do this anymore. That's really where it comes down to. Typically, the people who become that managing partner or chair of the firm, or even practice leaders, they're typically the ones who are the most successful rainmakers. They're the ones who know how to bring dollars in the door. And so when you do that cost benefit analysis of taking them out of the ability to do that, it starts adding up. And really, it's about giving the lawyers back the time and space to operate at their highest and best, and then bringing people in who are at their highest and best, people who've been training to do this for a living, and allowing them the space to, like I said, you own the place, and that's very clear. But to do that for you, but with you, right? Leading you along the way of knowing the things that you need to know. Like being a managing partner 15 years ago was a lot less complex than it is being a managing partner today. With the world is moving really, really quickly. And how are you as a non-HR person or a non-financial person or a non-technology person or a non-talent person supposed to know what the latest and greatest are so that you can keep up? It's a lot to ask of somebody who's also running a full practice. Now, if you're not practicing anymore, then that's a different conversation. We don't see that as much, but it's really been driven by the superstar lawyers who are tapped on the shoulder to do the managing partner role. And after a term or so, they're all done, and they don't mind doing a managing partner if it's I'm doing lateral hiring and I'm selling the firm, those types of things. But the day-to-day grind of the decision making of the minutia is what drags them down.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and you said it. There's no, we're taught about the law in law school. I mean, we're not even taught about how to practice at all, much less how to manage a practice or the business of law. I mean, there's zero education on that. At least there was back in our day. And it is a completely different, it's a different skill set. And like you said, the business should function with each person doing what, their highest and best use is. And so, and the other thing is, I think a lot of lawyers mistake the distinction between business development and marketing. They are, correct. To me, I think they're different things. I could talk to a client, a bank or whatever, potential client about, engagement in my firm, or I could talk to other lawyers about what we do and why we're, a great augmentation to their practice or whatever else. But that's different than marketing. And I think a lot of us do it.
Marketing is what is the fuel for business development.
Oh, marketing, I like that. Marketing is the fuel for business. It gives you the platform,
the brand recognition, the event to engage somebody with somebody. This podcast is marketing, right? And it all adds up to help you do business development in a more meaningful way. Right. It's the vehicle of delivering the brand so that you can be positioned in a place of sophistication. So they go together. You can, I guess, but it depends on the level of sophistication you're looking for. But it's really hard to do effective business development without that underlying marketing engine propelling you forward.
Right. Yeah. But I also think when you're a small firm, you can do all the things. Just like if I, opened a pizza shop in the beginning, I'm probably, rolling the dough and making the sauce and,
Absolutely.
Doing the advertising and serving the customers and taking the cash. But as you grow, you have to staff up and you have to build up the expertise. And the bigger you get, the more specialization you really need.
Absolutely. And I always say you can do whatever you want. It's your business. And if you're looking to grow and you're looking to do things differently, then looking outside to get people to come and help you is probably the best use of your time and the dollar spend. I mean, we were working with a firm whose chairman, sent him over the edge because the copy machine needed to be fixed. And this is a very small firm or whatever, but $500 an hour You didn't, it's below your pay grade. And I mean that in the most respectful possible way.
Right.
To fix,
to be changing
to fix the coffee machine.
Yeah. Right.
Do you see it, the sort of the transition now, as we talked about, to, lawyers focusing more on the business side and hiring, revenue enablers as a transition, like a generational thing, like the older lawyers, the founders of firms, figuring out a way to transition to next generation as well with the assistance of revenue enablers and, people like that?
So I was at a conference this week. I'm a fellow of the College of Law Practice Management, and it's the only conference annually that brings together people from all places in the legal industry. So you've got the client side, you've got law schools, you've got law firms, but partners and the business people. And it comes together every year to talk about the future of the profession. There's an event towards access to justice and how we can all solve this together. One of the conversations, was why aren't some of the bigger, billion with a B dollar firms doing this, and why are some of the other ones embracing this? And at the end of the day, I think you've got to have leadership that either want to leave the place better than they found it, and it's a somewhat of a selfless act, but it's also contributes to their legacy, or it's definitely generational. It's the 40-somethings, the early 50-somethings who just don't want to. This is not what they signed up for. They don't need to be a managing partner. They want to solve problems for their clients.
Right.
They love being that trusted advisor, which I know gets used too much, but it's true. It feels good when a client asks for your counsel, and that's what so many lawyers signed up for. So I do think that it's somewhat generational, and I think as firms are starting to have more of a corporate mindset, it's just a natural evolution to bring people in to do things that, they're really good at doing. I mean, every firm, big firm, small firm, and everything in between, everybody's struggling with associated attrition right now. Everyone's, the partner market is transactional, and that's kind of a new thing, right? Partners didn't move around as much as they do now. And so what is the talent strategy you're going to put into place? What's the, for the associates, what's that employee value proposition? There are people out there who solve these problems professionally, and it should, you as the partner, managing partner, it's probably not the best use of your time to figure that out on your own.
Yeah, I would imagine that for some, it's driven by ego as well, because I think they're used to being able to handle everything themselves. I can do it. I can do everything. I can do the LinkedIn and the marketing and everything else.
And make pizza.
And make pizza.
Yeah, I didn't even know.
But you are in law school trained to figure out the answer.
Right.
Yeah.
So why would this be any different?
Yeah, I mean, delegation, we've talked about it ourselves. We've talked about it with the younger lawyers. Like, delegation is a very hard thing, not just for lawyers, for anyone to, that, is good at something. Delegation is very hard. But I wonder what the future, right, of the profession. I know you said you were just at a conference talking about one of the things, talking about the future of the profession. And is this trend going to continue that maybe it's, okay, lawyers don't run the firm at all anymore. They are out there. They are bringing in the business, and they are representing clients. And now we just have a full suite of, professionals that, handle the business.
I think there is absolutely a trend towards that. Having said that, there are thousands of law firms out there, and it's not going to be a wholesale change.
Right.
KPMG was just today admitted to have a law firm in Arizona.
Wow.
This morning.
Yeah, I was just going to say how
that's a big for example, but you've got Utah can have now
non-lawyer owners, right?
The word's not mine. Ownership at Washington, District of Columbia, same thing. So it's there, and it's just a matter of getting that business model up and running, and it'll happen. I think
it's happening.
The bigger thing is technology, AI, and what's it going to do, and how can you keep up and compete and embrace it? And those are big discussions, big topics that are changing every 15 minutes, and that's hard to stay on top of if that's not your, thing that you've been studying for years and years. So, I think we're going to see all of the above. Are we going to see the traditional, New York City, Wall Street firms change their models anytime soon? I don't think so. But those of you who are capturing market share, inching away at capturing market share, those are the firms I think you'll see will have, an appreciation for, I need to have somebody that knows this space do this for me.
Right. Yeah, it's putting the right people in the right seats. But like you said, I mean, with now it's, 2 or 3 states that are having, or I know DC is not a state, but 3 jurisdictions that are now allowing non-lawyer ownership. That number's gonna grow. It's 3, it'll be 5 at some point, and it'll be 20 at some point. And maybe even if it's not 50.
I've been in a conversation with business people and law firms who've said, man, maybe we should run a law firm. Imagine how much money we could make if the lawyers worked for us, So I think it's happening, and it's going to continue happening.
Right.
But I think it'll be probably another 5 to 7 years before you start seeing some of these giants operate differently.
So in the meantime, how does what firm needs to hire Calibrate? How does somebody know, all these lawyers out there that are listening to this, when should they pick up the phone and call you, Jennifer? Obviously, right now.
Anytime that you feel as if you are running the firm on the side of your desk, anytime you feel that you're not giving this the attention it deserves, anytime you feel like you don't know the answer to a question and feel overwhelmed by where do I even begin to come up to speed on this, and if I do that, it's going to take me out of practice. I don't want to do it, so I'm not going to do it. And if you want your firm's legacy to continue forward and make it as easy as possible for you to do what you signed up to do, that's when you call us.
And what do you say to folks who say, "Oh, I don't think my firm can afford a revenue enabler"?
You already know what I'm going to say.
Yeah, of course I do. Revenue. Of course I do.
You can't not afford to. Again, the cost benefit analysis. If we were to take your billable hour and put that against all of the time spent on running the firm, that adds up. If you were free to not spend that time, then the idea would be that it would exponentially increase the potential revenue you could drive into the firm. So they pay for themselves, period, full stop.
Yeah, you can't afford not to. I continue to this day to meet lawyers who they have law firms. Some that I met recently, a litigator, pure solo, not even an assistant, just running the firm themselves. Like, you are a litigator and you handle everything yourself? Yeah. And I can't imagine wanting to do that much less successfully.
But you did it and I did it when we started our firm.
Very briefly.
Separately, and then we came together. We did it, but I don't, so who knows what.
I hired a staff person right away.
Yeah.
Right away.
Fair, but you don't know it. Anyway, there's definitely a need at a critical level, right, when you're building a firm and growing a firm and operating a firm where, look, we've had those conversations in terms of, I don't want to deal with that issue. Or, we have some people here that we just, here, you do it.
Yeah.
This is not our highest and best use, or not something that, you're equipped better to do it than we are. And I think with the evolution of it, I think lawyers are just seeing that. It wasn't that way, right? Decades ago, it was just, lawyer, you grow up, you open a firm or you run a firm, or the big firms, that's lawyers and lawyers at every layer. Yeah. And it's just not that anymore. And I think that's a proper evolution. I mean, it's a business, and it's, you should
run it like a business. And
at the end of the day, that's what this is. Yeah. And you can create a law firm that is hospitable and appreciates everyone as an asset. Otherwise, why are we paying the money to work here? And you guys do good work together and make some money. I mean, what a great combination.
Yeah, you don't have to do it yourself.
Yeah,
you don't have to.
You can do whatever you want if you own the place, right? Again, but it's not a one size fits all solution.
For sure.
Let's be clear. Some firms need a COO with a finance background. Some firms need an executive director that's a people forward person. So it's wherever you are in your evolution and what your tolerance level is for letting go. That's the piece you have to explore, because it's not one size fits all.
All right, Jennifer. So you don't like skiing. We're gonna end on that. You don't like skiing, snow or water.
Nope.
What is something that Jennifer Johnson likes to do, whether it's outside in nature or otherwise?
I like to play golf.
Okay. Fair enough.
I have twin daughters and we play golf, and that's been a really fun. We picked that up. I mean, I picked it up a long time ago, but I got them into it during COVID because you could be outside playing golf and
That's right.
more than 6 feet away from the next people, you would hope. So that's a really fun thing for us to do. And I think it sounds cliche, but I love to travel. I lived in Turkey.
Oh, wow.
And did my study abroad in Turkey in college. So I'm taking my daughters to Turkey this summer so that before the world gets weirder, I'm going to take them to visit this country that I just find so magical and interesting and mysterious. So I'm going to do that with them this summer.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
That sounds excellent.
Wow. Awesome.
All right. I'm available to go to Turkey.
Really?
It's a little weird. Okay.
That is a little weird.
I'm retracting that.
Yeah.
Anyway, if you enjoyed this,
Highly recommend it. Highly recommend Turkey. The people are so warm and it's just beautiful. And it's really the convergence, right, of so many different cultures all in this country. You've got Christian culture, Muslim culture, you've got the Persians, you've got the Ottomans. It's fascinating.
2 continents, one country.
Correct.
Yes.
Let's go.
Thank you, Jennifer, for doing this. We appreciate it.
Yeah, this is great.
Jeff, read us out, man.
Brett, thank you. If you enjoyed this episode, give us a like, share the show, subscribe, and we will see you next time. Jennifer, thank you so much. Nelson,
we
thanks
just want
as
always, man.
Nelson, for everything.
Jeff, it is your pleasure.
It is.
Yeah,
it is my pleasure.
For more information on this show and other resources, visit fastamron.com and connect with us on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram @FastAmron.